Very sobering opening. But these questions have to be asked. Like I say, I'll probably get a load of flack for asking basic common sense questions again, but that's what I do. That's why we find out far more than most other shows. We ask the right questions. We, the people, have trusted things far too easily, and it's not served us well. And unless some serious actions are taken, this world is on the eve of destruction. You don't need me to tell you that anymore. And unless someone pulls their finger out of the pie, the eve is on the verge of destruction also. We cannot carry on with this delusional world of it's all happening, and nothing happens, and they just carry on with the programs of harvesting, greed and death in the background. It's not helping anybody. And with those titles, you're the one that carries the karma and the failure. That is what I'm warning of. I warned of it before May last year. It's now got worse. A while back, we did a piece on masks. Not just COVIDiot masks, but stage prop masks and things not being all as it seems. And we questioned to whether the people presented as such were actually the real versions. We also did an in-depth piece recently about all the world being a stage, filled with fake actors and actresses and cheating the public with their stage personas. Now, I'm delighted this week to see many differing sites now looking into this fakery with new eyes, with actors having different ears and other differing features. Major people around this world are using doubles, rubber masks, and we are not being presented with the real people. There was a recent video this week of Biden in some ceremonial hall after the inauguration, and that is a classic example. It was not Biden, period. So where is he? Why are all these prominent people doing this? Is the great question. Why are the public tolerating it? And the whole of life now is a complete farce and a stage show, and quite frankly the most appalling movie ever produced or seen. Let's get into some news. Dominion voting systems. Voting? Really? Filed a defamation lawsuit against the attorney Sidney Powell over her claims that the company which manufactured electronic voting machines used by some districts in the 2020 elections changed votes for President Trump to votes for Joe Biden, which actually has been proven. But proof and truth doesn't mean much in this world, it seems. And the Portal people said Powell's wide-ranging conspiracy theory variously implicated Dominion, deceased Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez, and the CIA and Chinese communists in a plot to rig the election against Trump. I don't know where the Hugo Chavez came in, but the CIA and the Chinese, quote-unquote Chinese, were involved in it. That is clear. But federal and state judges, all bought and paid for, repeatedly rejected, sometimes derisively, her efforts to prove her assertions in court. So now she's having a lawsuit filed against her. Was there election fraud? Yes. Has there always been election fraud? Yes. So what is the difference? Team Trump and Q must have known they would have done that, and in my opinion should have prevented it. Boris Johnson's administration in the UK have made efforts to pass legislation which will allow the state to recruit children to spy on their parents and even break the law while doing so. I told you the world was in free fall. The Covert Human Intelligence Source Bill will, if passed into law, allow 22 state agencies, including the likes of Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs and local councils, which is social services, as well as the intelligence services and police, to recruit children to covert human intelligence sources. Spies, essentially. Now, they mentioned ages, but I don't think ages applies. Children aged 16 and 17 could even be used to spy on their own parents and afforded certain protections to break the law whilst doing so. Now, once you start taking action like this to put spies in people's homes, whatever the purpose, this does have complications, major complications. And Ian Duncan Smith, the former Conservative Party leader and cabinet minister, said it's very important for government to recognise that this is not something that should be easily done in a democratic state. Now, Smith is the fake opposition they send out whilst harbouring the same ideologies. That's how politicians work. It's a stage show. They'll get a load of people for it and then a dissenting voice who's in the back pocket of the load of people for it. And I'm always beware of former politicians speaking out in any way against the system, a system they did show much to prop up. Unlike the New World Order and the secret space program, all presented as new, this has gone on in secret for many decades, using children to spy. The only difference now is they are telling you in public. New President Joe Biden's order to cancel the building of the new border wall systems authorised by Congress will kill off about 5,000 construction jobs, according to the most recent former head of US Customs and Border Protection. And the former commissioner said it's not just these construction jobs that will be hit by Biden's executive order signed on his first day in office. He said union members in the steel industry that produce the bollards will also be impacted. But he then said, now keep in mind they're going to be paid for what they've produced so far. But for the 350 miles that Congress funded for construction, all of that goes out of the window. Ignoring the fact that those construction companies may have bought a load of equipment to do that job, and now it just gets cancelled just like that. Out goes more jobs, and manufacturing is the most obvious issue here. But the hidden issues are what we have highlighted a number of years back. Flooding the US with migrants and the child trafficking business, of which lead Democrats partake in. That is the real issue here, plus the potential annexation of all southern border states to the cartels. And yes, that's intel. Following the World Horror Organization stating that vaccines does not delete COVID last week, John Kerry now makes a statement even zero US emissions will not solve climate change. Perhaps now more people will see through the illusion of both of these programs being used as a power grab over and of the people. And that will remain in place until the people learn to come together and fight back as a single unit. The same applies to the lockdowns. They're not going away. The UK minister told you that this week. They're not ending any time soon, he said. The only way the lockdowns end is if the people stop it. The Washington Post published an op-ed by columnist Brian Klass, whereby he expresses the near futility of attempting to, quote, deprogram millions of Trump supporters, claiming that many have gone far enough down the rabbit hole of conspiratorial thinking. Reprogramming. Seriously. And the essay titled, Why is it so hard to deprogram Trumpian conspiracy theorists? Depicts millions of Trump supporters as so devoted to dangerous lunacy that nearly all hope is lost of bringing them back to reality, he said. Who told Mr. Klass that he's based in reality himself to require others to change? And that is typical agency speak that. If you don't follow our narrative, you are a conspiracy theorist. Ignoring the fact that the so-called conspiracy theorists have got more things right than the mainstream media. Oops. Reprogramming? Political choices? Fascism, anyone? Dictator? Despots?